Anyway, we're blasting off, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing it quick today. Look at that, 25 minutes in. Boom, 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 boom. Not a lot of personal news, you know? Not a lot of personal news. Moodang, this is for my trip. Trying to see bath time, but it didn't happen. Sorry for ghosting. Not trying to spam. Just thought you liked the little experience. J. Gray BKK, you are insane. You promised us Moodang bath time literally a month ago. Okay? You said you flew all the way out there to Thailand to give us Moodang bath time. And day in and day out, every single day. Every single day. Hey, majority report. A majority report. Thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good one. We are about to watch our chatter that flew to Thailand specifically to see Moodang. Turns out there is no Moodang bath time in this, but it's fine. I still want to see it.
It was even doubling back.
Okay.
It was pretty bitch in though, because there were some capybaras just chilling to look at.
Okay, that's sick. Love capybaras.
We saw some hippos hanging out in the little river. First, we were greeted by Moodang's older sister, Mulan, which means sweet pork. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see Moodang having bath time, and only got to see her doing what cute babies do best, sleeping.
It's
Mama
still okay.
was keeping watch over her the whole time. The way the whole viewing is set up is they let 30 people in at a time to see Moodang, and then after 5 minutes, they make you leave.
That's crazy. Moodang is quite the celebrity. Like, that's crazy that they're just like, yeah, you got to fuck off after seeing Moodang for 5 minutes. Why are you talking about promises? Listen. I got some games ready to go on the fucking docket. Okay, if you went to Thailand with Will, we could have had Moodang bath time. Next year. I'm going to Japan next year. I'm going to Thailand next year. I might even go to China. You know, just get ready. Once we're done with this election cycle, I'm gonna go crazy. Okay, we're gonna be making content. Call me I Show Speed. The way I'm going to be doing backflips in every continent.
While we didn't get to see Moodang take a bath, we did get to see one of her four-legged friends go swimming, which was pretty awesome.
I don't get the Moodang hype. It's just very cute. It's like a very cute little fucking baby hippo. Like, I don't know. It's not that. I love animals. You know, I am a big fan of animals. I fucking absolutely love animals, especially baby animals are the best. So, you know. That's it. This is a funny thing I saw from SoulCon, which is like not even wrong. Nathan J. Robinson says, sorry, but campaigning with Dick Cheney is like campaigning with Slobodan Milosevic or Osama bin Laden. SoulCon goes, Dick Cheney is a much worse person than Osama bin Laden, by the way. Not even close. Cheney's body count in the short term was astronomically higher, and in the long term, due to climate change, that gap will be exponentially wider. He is 100% correct. Good luck explaining that to Americans. Americans will never see that in the same light, though. Okay? If anything, you could say, I guess, like, you could attribute Dick Cheney and George W. Bush's, like, war on terror to Osama bin Laden as, like, his actions were utilized as, like, the fire that sparked this entire process. But, like, beyond that, you know, pound for pound, you can't even come near the bodies that, like, every American president has in general. It's crazy. Yeah, it's a catalyst. Seems like some people are still over 20 years behind the moral curve because they think there's any comparison in scale in intensity between harm done by America and the harm done to America in the context of the global war on terror, which explains a lot in terms of America's support and the tolerance of Israel's genocide against Palestine, both because they either had the ingrained disregard or antipathy for both, for those lives pre 9/11 and or what instilled amplified it. Yeah. Come on, 9/11 happened and Dick Cheney had a right to defend himself. You convinced me. There's no scenario where you need to make bin Laden the lesser evil. You convinced me. I will not vote for bin Laden or Dick Cheney. Anyway, that's cool stuff. The elefante. That's sweet. I love animals. Animals make me happy. The world is kind of shitty, but you know what's really cool? Animals. That's just how it goes. You do not have to hand it to the Taliban. You can't. You're actually saying, technically, when you think about it, you're saying the Taliban are fucking weak, dude. We are the Mujahideen. The Taliban are the Takfir. They do not even pray 5 times a day. I heard they do not know the direction of Kaaba. Unlike my soldiers, the Marine Corps. We are the real Taliban. You got clip chimps so hard on Reddit. Even I laughed at it. Yeah, I know. I saw really cool stuff happening over there as people are every single day being like, Excuse me. Yeah, here. I'll just show that real quick and laugh at it and we'll move on and we'll get to the actual news. But it was like, Hasanabi not holding back.
So she's
and it's this clip.
Of concerns about anti-Semitism. Beth?
Yes!
Hi, thank you for being here.
Thank
you for remembering we need to bring the hostages home. Of course. The rise of anti-Semitism and violence from anti-Semitism has risen greatly on college campuses and on our city streets in the last year.
Brianna Wu posted about it. Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah. And ironically enough, it was once again, it's it's cool how he tortures his Jewish friends like this. Ironically enough, it was a classic Hasanabi deadlock fucking pre-watch moment. The worst fucking part about this is that the people defending the war don't give a single solitary fuck about the hostages. Some of us actually want a fucking ceasefire and a hostage deal. I know. Yeah, mods pinned the context to it, I guess, but it doesn't fucking matter. None of these dipshits care, dude. Are you kidding me? They're like, could someone please explain the joke? What's so funny? Oh my god, I don't get it. Yeah. Imagine seeing someone with the LGBTQ plus flag, predicting they ask about a recent mass shooting at a gay club, and then laughing at your ass off when they actually do. That's the joke to Hassan, but against all Israelis. And it's like, no, dude, it's fucking funny because someone who thinks at this point that Kamala Harris is not pro-Israel and is undecided is a fucking idiot, okay? I'm sorry. You will never convince me. You will never convince me that that is not funny. Someone is like, I'm an undecided voter and my single issue is, are you pro-Israel? Like, that's so stupid. You're a fucking idiot, okay? Shut the fuck up. You're probably voting for Trump anyway. Why are you asking this question? Get the fuck out of here. And it's pretty clear. It's like they're trying to turn you into this monstrous, bloodlusting Muslim who laughs about Israelis dying is so fucking bizarre. It's not bizarre. It's called Islamophobia, which is really funny because a lot of my detractors, a lot of my naysayers in general are ironically the very same people who are aligned with some Islamist fundamentalist principles. Like they're fucking usually transphobic, whereas I'm not. So that's why it's hilarious to be like, Hassan is an Islamist, fundamentalist, barbaric Muslim who does not care about all this shit. It's like, come on, dude. Yeah. So if you want to actually know the true context, I mean, here, I posted it on not only my Twitter, but also on my Instagram as well. Not that these people give a single fuck. Because most of the time when we're having these questions, most of the time we're having these arguments, you are talking to someone who does not care about the truth, who does not care about my perspective, who does not care about the context at all. They simply want to go, Muslim guy who's pro-Palestinian, he's a Jew hater. I cannot wait for undecided questions, dude. I think they bring out truly some of the weirdest fucking people of all time. Like, actually, I'm quite undecided on Kamala Harris's defense of Israel. I feel like she has not defended Israel hard enough. It's like, how? How are you this person? How is this even like confusing for you?
32 Pennsylvania voters say they are still undecided or persuadable. All of them are registered.
Oh man, these are some great.
There you go.
Yeah.
I called it. Oh, she got the IDF dog tag and the yellow ribbon. She's gonna. Yeah. Which, by the way, I very specifically go, oh, she has an IDF dog tag. She's 100% the single issue voter that will bring that up. And before people go, my god, that's anti-Semitic. My god, you are failing to comprehend the basic thing here that makes this incredibly stupid. Okay. Being undecided over whether you think Kamala Harris is sufficiently pro-Israel or not this close to the fucking election is what I'm laughing at. You have to be the biggest fucking dumbass. Okay? It has nothing to do with Judaism whatsoever. She's wearing a fucking IDF dog tag. Okay? Jesus Christ. Anyway, let's continue. Stand up and be like, I feel like your loyalty to Israel is questioned.
Yeah.
How will you address campus anti-Semitism? Yeah. That's my favorite undecided voter.
I want you to meet Beth Sandberg. She's a realtor, a mom of 4 from Ballackinwood, Pennsylvania. She's a registered Democrat. Says she's undecided because of concerns about anti-Semitism. Beth?
Yes!
Hi, thank you for being here.
Thank
you for remembering we need to bring the hostages home. Of course. The rise of anti-Semitism and violence from anti-Semitism has risen greatly on college campuses.
I called it.
And on our
like being concerned about the rise of anti-Semitism on college campuses aside, which is like, again, you're fucking ridiculous. Okay. You're fucking ridiculous. But being concerned about the rise of anti-Semitism on college campuses, when people say this, they're talking about pro-Palestinian protests. They're not talking about like actual fucking Nazis who are, drawing swastikas or whatever. They're talking about people who are like, we don't like Israel, right? Now, if that's your concern, okay, why the fuck would you be undecided on where Kamala lands on this? She literally routinely has railed against the pro-Palestinian fucking students time and time again, as a matter of fact. Not only has she railed against them, this administration has allowed other state-level police to genuinely arrest and pack up pro-Palestinian students, many of which were anti-Zionist Jews, by the way. So the idea of like trying to fucking package this as like a serious concern about the rise of anti-Semitism, like, I'm sorry. No, you're fucking ridiculous. You're a ridiculous person. I am not having this conversation with you. You cannot do this 12 months into a fucking genocide, dude. You can't. No one believes this. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's utterly ridiculous. Not only is it utterly ridiculous, but it's a fucking hilarious question to be like, I don't know if I'm going to be voting for you because this is my one issue. What do you want her to do? Fucking kill a Palestinian child on stage? The fuck do you want? No, literally. Like, I need someone to explain to me. I need a singular person to explain to me how Kamala Harris has not been sufficiently pro-Israel, okay? I need someone to explain that to me. I need someone to be like, here is the reason why I am concerned about Kamala Harris's loyalty to the state of Israel and its actions against the Palestinians. What the fuck more could she have done? What can she do? Actually, what can she do at that point? She's maxed out. She's maxed out. You're fucking nuts.
Streets in the last year.
Called it.
How would you are right, and I will say that we have seen a rise in anti-Semitism on a regular basis.
What more can you do? You like kill the fucking anti-Zionist Jews on campus? Like what can you do more to combat anti-Semitism on college campuses? I am a single issue voter. How will Kamala Harris combat anti-Semitism on college campuses? That's my single issue. There are still students out there that learn that genocide is bad, for example. I don't think that that's appropriate. I think that sometimes genocide is good. Like, for example, if the victims of the genocide are barbaric, rapist animal monsters like Arabs who have an antiquated ancient gene of anti-Semitism in their hearts. If you don't teach it like that, then people are going to learn the wrong lessons. That's my single issue. I do like that she was more passionate about answering that than she was about fucking answering the other person who was like, when will you stop murdering children with American weapons? And she was like, yeah, it's really bad. We're beginning to think about the humanity of the situation. Yeah. Like what would be satisfactory? What would be satisfactory for people who are like at this point, if they are even genuinely undecided on this issue? I don't think that person is really undecided. Okay. I don't think any of the undecided voters are actually undecided. Sorry. That's me. I've been saying this for a long ass time. I don't think any of these motherfuckers that go on TV are actually undecided. They just want to be on TV. They just want to be on TV. That's it. They want to be on TV and they want their message to be heard. You know what I mean? They want to make it seem like there's a massive constituency for this sort of thing. Okay. There's got to be a massive constituency out there for this shit. Let's like, come on. Dog, there was a straight up groiper. I know, it was awesome. Yo, first time chatter, my friend is a firm believer that you support the Armenian genocide. He thinks because you were a part of the Young Turks, I guess you actually did the genocide yourself in his mind. Wait, what? Dude, I've never denied it. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's so crazy. Dude, it's whatever. It's like, you know, what are you going to do? 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 What can you do? Yeah, people are just going to always lie on your fucking name. Okay. That's it. That's it. There's always going to be cynical fucking assholes. Just put your fucking head down and hope that, hope that reason will prevail. Hope that people will inevitably be charitable. Hope that people will come to their own conclusions. That's it. That's it. That's it. One day. That's the only thing I can hope for. And I know that there are plenty of people that maybe a couple months ago were anti-me. Maybe a couple years ago were anti-me. They saw a bunch of clips they came to their own conclusions off of these like insanely fucking, insanely cut out of context clips. Okay. MR talked about this today. They were cooking. It's just, that's it. All I can do is be myself. All I can do is be myself and speak truth to power, try to offer a voice to the voiceless, try to show you a different perspective that you were most likely uninitiated on, okay, that you most likely have never heard before, that you've never encountered, and hope that you're charitable and hope that you're understanding. There's going to be a lot of people who come in here and they have, they're of a different mind. That's normal, okay? Watch the Mugen video. He actively spreads misinformation about you. He claims to be unbiased, but clearly dislikes you. Who the fuck is Mugen? I don't know any of this stuff. I don't care. Anyway, I will be reacting to the Majority Report video, yes. Or, I mean, not Majority Report video, the Jubilee video, yes. Banger AB tweet. What is this? Different doors, same concept. Israel's cruelty towards Gaza and Lebanon is planting the seeds for more violence. Oppression doesn't lead to peace, it leads to resistance. And let me be clear before I'm labeled a terrorist sympathizer, I don't want resistance, I want peace. I condemn any killing of the innocent. But peace is not up to those knocking, it's up to those that keep the door locked. Damn, that's a beautiful way to fucking put it from AB.
I know that in this hotel room, they have food every day. Knock on the door every day to eat. And they open the door, let me see the party. Let me see like them throwing salami all over I mean, just like throwing food around. But they're telling me there's no food in here. You know what I'm saying? Every day. I'm standing outside trying to sing my way in. You know what I'm saying? We are hungry, please let us in. We are hungry, please let us in. After about a week, that song is going to change to, we hungry, we need some food. After 2-3 weeks, it's like, you know, give me all the food, breaking out the door. And after a year, you just like, you know what I'm saying? I'm picking the lock, coming through the door, blasting, you know what I'm saying? It's like you hungry, you reached your level, you don't want any more. We asked 10 years ago.
All right, we're gonna get to we are gonna get to the obviously the freaking CNN town hall, which was kind of ass. I'm not gonna lie, and it's been kind of ass. And every time I talk to like people that are outside of my orbit, like people that aren't, you know, immediately locked into this stuff, whether they're like journalists in reputable mainstream outlets, for example, I'm always shocked that like they are also in agreement with me on this stuff. Like, because maybe I watch too much mainstream media, mainstream press, and it makes me feel as though like there are a lot of Americans who are like, no, we want this reasonable, moderate shit. And it's like, no, I think a lot of people are genuinely confused why Kamala is like, yeah, I'm going to be the border person. I'm going to be the big border. I'm going to be the big border czar. I'm going to do it, you know? How are we going to survive another 4 years of Trump? I'm terrified of it. I don't fucking know. Do you like her answer to Gaza or how she's different than Biden law? Yeah, her answer to Gaza was ass. It was so bad. It was just so fucking bad. She was struggling not to say build a wall. She did say it though. That's the worst part. She did say it. She ended up dancing around it and then arriving at it. Like, it was crazy. It was shocking. Anyway. Harris no longer slated to go on Rogan. What happened? That's a massive flub, in my opinion. That's a genuine fucking L if she said no to that. Because Joe Rogan, for all of his fucking faults, Joe Rogan absolutely is like a right-wing guy. We know this already, but he literally will always glaze whoever is he's interviewing. Okay, he is the most agreeable person. He is the most agreeable person on the planet. If you could have a fucking Maoist rebel militia leader and Joe would be like, yeah, the third world does need to rise up against their masters. I think the unequal exchange that's occurring in the third world is completely unacceptable. And they are ripe for revolutionary sentiment over there. Like it doesn't matter. Doesn't fucking matter. With the exception of COVID. Okay, with the exception of COVID, or if someone is like anti-pot smoking or whatever, like he will always agree with you, okay? Kamala Harris could get Joe Rogan to think that it's a brilliant idea to give $50,000 in tax cuts for small businesses, okay? Joe Rogan would be like, oh, yeah, have you seen this video of an ape tearing off someone's arms? Like, that's what he would do. So abso-fucking-lutely, she should have done that interview. I don't know why she said no to it. I hope she does do the interview, because I'm like, on board. I'm on board with the fucking, what do you call it? I'm on board with the content. I'm on the content train. Hit Claudia de la Cruz on Joe Rogan. Yeah, PSL voters, rise up, dude. I swear to God, Joe Rogan be like, PSL? Pumpkin spice latte. I like that. Party for Socialism and Liberation. I think I'm on board with that. I like liberation. Socialism's kind of scary, but brought forward really good talking points here, I think. Joe Rogan and Theo are the two of the least confrontational right-wing podcasts. I wouldn't even put Theo on the right-wing orbit, to be honest. You could have a Houthi pirate and Joe would be like, cool dude, wants some weed? Oh, for sure. He'd be like, oh, you guys... Joe Rogan interviews like an actual Houthi, not the fucking Yemeni like Rashid, but like an actual fucking straight up Ansar Allah, like militant. He'd be like, so I heard you guys do this thing called khat. What's that about? Yeah, have you brought over some khat? Would you like to try some elk meat? He would be like, you chew khat? What is that? I want to try it. Have you ever done DMT? Joe Rogan interviews IRGC member. Yeah, he'd be like, do you want DMT? Dude, if you went on a trip, if you did a DMT trip, you'd go crazy. You would drop this Ayatollah stuff, like, I think. Anyway. Ay. Did you watch the Jubilee bench video? Dude, it's been 50 minutes since I started the broadcast. How could I have watched the Jubilee video so far? How could I have done that? Anyway, Harris courts moderate and independent voters at town hall. Okay, so this was supposed to be the last debate. But of course, this was supposed to be the last debate, but it didn't happen because Trump fucking, chickened out, which is really sad. I saw you fail at the flirting game on Twitter the other day. I don't even know what that is. Okay. I don't know how to flirt. I'm a 33-year-old man who spends 8 to 10 hours every single day, 8 to 10 hours every single day covering the news. Okay. Let me tell you something. My brain is fried. I don't know how to do normal human contact and normal human communications. Okay. I've lost it. I don't know how it is. Ask me about like ongoing shit in the world. I will fucking chirp for an hour.
Town hall in the Philly suburbs, Vice President Harris tried to appeal to persuadable voters, and she was pressed on her positions on immigration, the war in Gaza, and also grocery prices. Weijia Zhang is in Philadelphia.
Every single day, bro, is the Lulu. Wait, what? I'm not the Lulu. Dog. Look at how many days of the week I stream, and you will recognize that, yes, I cover news and commentary, news, politics in general, every single day. That's true. In your reactions, you are doing way better than people who do less hours. What?
Philadelphia for us. Weijia, good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning, Tony. Good morning to everybody. The Harris campaign tells us they believe that 10% of battleground voters are still up for grabs, including right here in Pennsylvania. At that town hall, the vice president took questions directly from several of those voters who say they're not convinced who to choose. In an appeal to undecided voters, Vice President Harris vowed to bring change to the country.
My administration will not be a continuation of the Biden administration. I bring to this role my own ideas and my own experience.
But at times, Harris struggled to provide specifics when asked about policy.
So my question is concerning groceries. What would you do to bring prices down for Americans?
We will have a national ban on price gouging. There are a number of issues that we need to address in terms of bringing down the cost of living.
What would you do to ensure not another Palestinian dies due to bombs being funded by U.S. tax dollars?
Far too many innocent Palestinian civilians have been killed. It's unconscionable.
Harris was pressed on why she now supports a border wall she once ridiculed as stupid.
Let's talk about that.
That was a really funny moment where she was not even like pressed really, but like one additional question caused her to basically be like, well, sometimes some ideas are good. Okay, then why did you call us stupid in 2018? And now you're like pushing for it, which is really interesting that the media has basically taken their time, their sweet ass time to arrive at this point. I've been saying this since Biden unveiled his, border wall package. That was last year on October 5. I've been screaming about this since last year on October 5, 2023, when Biden came out and was like, that's right, Jack, I'm the border president now. We're going to build that wall. It's just like that level of flip-flopping is so crazy to me because you have changed fundamentally what you believe. If you say the border wall is stupid in 2018, because it is fucking stupid, the underlying principles behind you assuming that the border wall is stupid is that we are being unnecessarily fucking cruel and using an antiquated mechanism to stop the flow of migration coming into this country instead of dealing with the processing issue and humanizing migrants. That's what the Democrats are supposed to be saying. That's what the Democrats have kind of said. At least my entire life, they've been like, we are a nation of immigrants. That's what they used to say. And usually the counter to that is, oh, well, you want unlimited migration because you want to like enslave these migrants. It's an economic problem. And the answer to that is always still, well, then process them, document them, allow them to participate in the labor force alongside the rest of the American working class, allow them to unionize, allow them to take a larger piece of the puzzle, a larger piece of the profits. So for me, at least there was always a push and pull, and I used to yell. I used to yell at the push and pull, like Obama is the deporter in chief, but at least he got the DACA thing right. Like that, there was a push. He deported a lot, but there was a pull. You got some concessions, right? I was frustrated with that, but like that was the way the Democrats used to operate. Not anymore. Now they're just all push, no pull. They're like, yeah, we're doing the border wall. What the fuck are we doing? They have completely conceded on the false notion born out of right-wing panic that immigrants constitute a national security threat. That is an insane thing to say. That is an insane thing to get on board with. And that is the reason why she looks like she's fucking flip-flopping on this, because she is flip-flopping.
Donald Trump and that border wall. So remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would...
Kamala's between a rock and a hard place. Who she's supposed to coordinate the elections. Progressives at worst won't vote at all. Never for Trump. Center-right Republicans don't like Trump and want a reason to vote for Kamala. Yeah, that's really dumb, my friend, because that's really dumb. You want to know why it's really dumb? Because Kamala and Joe Biden before Kamala has successfully gotten the Never Trump constituency. There's a way to activate them. Pick apart the things that they're mad about. They're mad at Donald Trump because Donald Trump is crazy. They're mad at Donald Trump because Donald Trump has made their relatives insane. They're mad at Donald Trump because Donald Trump is brash. He's rude. He says unhinged shit. You can say all of that and be like, yeah, you're not going to vote for Donald Trump. You don't have to make legislative concessions to the right on key issues that are supposed to separate you from the Republican Party. Because when you do that, you're hemorrhaging your base of support. Now, I'll never say that the Democrats don't have a hard electoral map. They do. It's designed against them, okay? In this country, land does vote, right? Oh my God, dude, shut up. Jesus Christ, 15-month subscriber. Holy fuck, dude. Ay. Oh, he's just like spamming over and over again. Can you tell your merch company to work with the USPS instead of FedEx? They're not unionized. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on there. I'm sure they use both, okay? Shut the fuck up. Holy shit. I have no way of changing this shit, okay? Calm down. Fuck. We are fucking 13 days out from an election where we got like Adolf Hitler, but zesty, going up against the lighter version of that, okay? And you're over here being like, oh, customer support! Customer support about your merch shipping. It hasn't even come out yet. Shut the fuck up. God damn. He's lost his dang mind. I know a Reddit post is coming soon. New hater unlocked. I fucking hate this guy. Fuck. If your merchandise is from a unionized shop, but it's like not ethically sourced cotton, I think you really need to change that. How can I know that the yarn being used is actually being collected from sheep that have been kissed every night before they go to sleep? If it's not the case, I am going to fucking kill you. This is my one issue. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. The map is only hard for them because they let the Republicans make it. I mean, there is truth to that, but like ultimately, listen, ultimately, land does vote. That's just the reality, okay? That's the way the Electoral College is designed. Like it, hate it, doesn't matter. That's a big L for the Democrats to begin with, okay? And then the other L is that the Democrats do have to hold on to a diverse coalition of voters. A diverse coalition of voters that have very different things that they care about. They have to literally target every single one without hemorrhaging the other, right? It's a balancing act. I understand that, which is why when I see a gimme, like with the Gaza stuff, it's the easiest thing to do, right? It's the easiest thing to do. Like when you have something that is going to improve enthusiasm without any sort of like repercussions, without any sort of people being like, I'm no longer voting for you, especially with like significant margins, like you have to take it. That's one issue, however. Another thing is I am fearful, okay? I do not want Donald Trump to win this election, and I am fearful that the Democratic Party's consistent message, their method, focusing on the white suburban voter to try to take them away from Donald Trump and bring them into the Democratic Party is going to cause genuine hemorrhaging on the other constituencies that they fucking need to win, that they are taking for granted. Okay, Hassan, talk about something else. Yeah, dude, you're right. 13 days out from the election. Don't talk about the upcoming fucking election. Talk about something else.
Pay for it? Come on, they didn't.
But you're agreeing to a bill
on.
that would earmark $650 million to continue building that wall.
I pledge that I am going to bring forward that bipartisan bill to further strengthen and secure our border.
CNN's town hall.
Yeah. She even turned around and fucking said something like, can you talk more about shipping and handling? I'm going to ship and handle your ass as I package you on a fucking one-way ticket to the sun, okay? Dems are turning into the new Republican Party. People aren't going to vote for that and will desperately look for a more progressive party that doesn't exist, really, unfortunately. Yeah. There is no, like, serious fucking outsider here. And I don't even know if one can even exist with, like, the way that the duopoly currently works. So it is frustrating. It is very, very, very frustrating. I like that the Democrats a couple of years ago were like, we want a strong Republican Party. And then they were like, you know what? The Republicans are too stupid and too fucking, they're too stupid and too racist to, like, build a strong Republican Party. So we'll be the strong Republican Party. It's great.
Held in Delaware County, 25 miles outside of Philadelphia. The campaign says it represents former GOP strongholds that could turn blue, where they are focused on finding independents and moderate Republicans. Back in the city, volunteers are canvassing Philly.
Voters demand legit concentration camps, kind of? No. Okay? No, that is not true. There are voters who want it, but they don't know what it looks like. That is the major reason. There's two problems with voters, with American voters and what they poll on, okay? I saw the Axios reporting on this. 47% of Americans would not, 47% of Americans would want a militarized concentration camp for immigrants. That's what they said. 22% of Democrats, 47% of independents, and like 80% of Republicans want this, right? And I'm telling you right now, they do not understand what it would look like if this happened. They do not understand that they would not like it. I remember when Donald Trump was trying to fucking attack the Dreamers. People hated it. He had to back away from that. I remember a time when the Trump administration was like, we are going to do child separation as a deterrence policy at the border. We're going to put kids in concentration camps for the crime of crossing this fucking border. People did not like that. Okay? Americans do not understand what the policies that they're advocating for look like in practice. You have to recognize that reality. There's polling done on this as well, okay? Especially with the Republican Party. Republican voters notoriously do not understand what the impact of the legislation that they're voting for when faced with the direct consequences. We have to find this study. It's such an informative study. I need to fucking show you this study. I don't know if a chatter can find it for me right now. I don't know if I can pull it right now, but it's such a good an instructive study for you to comprehend like how American politics works. One of the best examples you can point to is like abortion. Obviously, many Republicans who voted for Republicans and didn't think that like abortion would ever get taken away, or even thought that it would be good if they criminalized abortions, have now changed their minds on this. Why have they changed their minds on this? Because they never thought of the repercussions. Okay, they never thought of the repercussions. They never thought of like how this might actually harm them somehow if their daughter is in need of a medical procedure like this. And I think that on the issue of immigration, this is another glaringly obvious example where people think they want mass deportations and concentration camps, but if it happens, they're going to be like, oh my God, this is actually kind of fucked up. This happens very frequently. Okay? This happens very frequently. Now, that's one aspect of this. Okay? People do not understand the impact of the legislation that they're advocating for. When faced with the actual impact of the legislation that they're advocating for, they go, oh, that's not what's going to happen. Come on. They fantasize about a completely alternative way that this is going to unfold in a way that actually is positive for them. Okay? I don't know if this was the one. Republicans don't know anything about their party. That's very bad for American democracy. Denying people health insurance because of pre-existing conditions is both unconscionably cruel and despised by voters. As a result, Republicans will routinely lie about their position on this issue. The most outrageous instance of this is when former Senator Cory Gardner cut an ad with his mom, a cancer survivor, saying he was fighting to protect those with pre-existing conditions. There are certainly efforts to fact check, but as this result suggests, the effects of these efforts may be limited. Okay? If Republicans were full tilt, and if Republicans were unimaginably anti-immigrant, then like if they were across the board or if they were across the board, like for certain policies, they would not vote against those policies when it is presented to them in clear-cut, direct ballot measures that they vote for. Okay? You have to understand this. It is not surprising. Is it not shocking to you that Republicans in deep red states, even in Ohio or Kansas, Kentucky, will vote to restore abortion protections, but they vote for Republicans that end up taking away abortion access from them? People are very stupid. So that's one side of this, okay? That's one side of this. The other side of this is that those exact same polls also suggest that by the same fucking numbers usually, okay, almost the same. It's like 60% want mass deportations. And then when you ask that very same fucking audience, how do you feel about offering conditional pathways to citizenship for undocumented migrants that have been living on U.S. soil without doing crimes or whatever? They then say, oh yeah, I want that by the same fucking margins. Okay? So how does that work? How does that work? Americans do not understand that their belief structure is directly at odds, okay? It is directly at odds with one another. That's it. So in an environment like that, you have to recognize that if one party is at the very least launching a strong counter message against the unimaginably racist and cruel policies that the Republicans are advocating for, show exactly how this would materialize and exactly how harmful that would be for them, both from an economic standpoint and also from the humanity of it all, or the inhumanity rather, if you suddenly had BORTAC units in your fucking neighborhood going door to door, arresting whoever the fuck is like perceived as Latino, okay? Americans would very quickly recognize, okay, maybe this is not the best idea. I don't want this. But Democrats have not done counter messaging on this front. So, of course, here we are. The Immigration Hub argued when provided a choice, voters overwhelmingly reject, only 39 in favor, the trademark Trump mass deportation policy that would result in American families across the nation torn apart. The article claimed when framed as a choice, voters prefer a pathway to citizenship over mass deportation by a large margin. Providing a pathway to citizenship remains far more popular approach to handling undocumented immigrants. The piece also cited data from the Pew Research showing that 59% of voters believe that undocumented immigrants should be allowed to stay in the country legally if certain requirements are met, versus 41% who say they should not be able to stay in the country legally. The Hub also claimed that their internal polling shows that when voters are giving specifics about who would be deported, they prefer allowing people to stay over being deported by overwhelming numbers. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's so shocking to me. It's not shocking to me at all because I look at the fucking data. American Immigration Council's Aaron Reichlin-Melnick specifically responded to Axios polling saying that enforcement finding is directly contradicted by other questions in the poll. Axios wrote that the survey still found that Americans strongly support immigration as long as it's lawful, with 58% of respondents saying they support expanding legal pathways for orderly immigration. Reichlin-Melnick also noted decades of polling on this in general show that people want a balanced path to a legal status plus more enforcement, not mass deportations. In another post, Reichlin-Melnick noted that when you explain to people what mass deportation is and propose a path to legal status as an alternative, mass deportation is extremely unpopular. Oh my God, who could have thought? Who has been saying this for years? That's crazy. Me, motherfucker, I've been saying this. I've been screaming this on the fucking rooftops. Shocking. Oh. Speaking of which, did you see this? Let's take a poll. A grandma is undocumented. She's lived in the USA 30 years, not even a ticket. She has 4 kids, all American born, as are her 12 grandkids. Kick in her door in the middle of the night, put her in handcuffs, and send her and her kids back to where she was born, and do it on camera as a warning to anyone who thinks they can violate the sovereignty of my country without consequences. Additionally, locate and deport all the people advocating she stay. Now, this is on Twitter, where you can be a Nazi out and about, as this guy is, okay? Say this in the real world. Say this out in the real world, and people will beat your ass, okay? You can have the most rugged, okay? You can have the most rugged Idaho cattle rancher in front of you, and he hears this fucking dipshit say this, they'll beat his ass, okay? They'll be like, what the fuck are you saying? I promise you. Says you? It's not a says you moment. It's reality. You want to know why it's reality? You want to know why it's reality? We know it's reality. All of the Haitians are eating cats and dogs shit popped off on Twitter. Why? Because everyone is jerking off the fucking 14 words over here on this fucking platform. When Trump did it on the main stage, Americans laughed at him. They thought it was gross. Republicans thought it was insane that he was saying that. Republicans. There's a big difference between what pops off on Twitter, Elon Musk's very own personal fucking Nazi forum, versus the way that 60 million Americans react to it on the national stage when the fucking presidential candidate is saying it. Okay? Good luck. Americans fancy themselves to be kind people. Americans fancy themselves to be anti-war. The American government might not do that, and they don't think quite a bit about that contradiction between how they feel about the world versus what the government is doing, but they still believe it. That's precisely the reason why when Trump presented himself as an anti-war candidate in his 2016 run against Hillary Clinton, presenting Hillary Clinton as a fucking warmonger, a lot of Americans responded positively to that message because they too were like, I don't like war. Yeah, the Iraq war was fucked up. There is a real problem with the DC bubble. There is a massive issue with the way that staffers and people that work on campaigns think versus how the average American sees themselves. Okay? Poll, Republicans hate Obamacare, but yeah, exactly. I mean, this is a classic. This is a classic by Ezra Klein. It is a fucking classic. Republicans hate Obamacare, but like most of what it does. When polled, they despise Obamacare. When asked about the many different aspects of the Affordable Care Act, ACA, they love it, okay? Pre-existing conditions protections, polls at like 99%. You can stay under your parents' insurance plan until the age of 26. Oh, great. I love that, okay? Expansion of Medicaid directly. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, why shouldn't we give poor people more medical access? Everybody loves that. Everybody loves that. When you slap on Obamacare as a sticker on it, everyone's like, whoa, I don't want that. Because Americans are fucking dumb. They're stupid. Everyone is stupid, myself included. We're all dumb. Okay? That's it. So recognize the fucking court you're playing in and start messaging for it. Fuck me, dude. Fuck me. I think it's more racism, but I get you. No, dude. No, it's not. Just slapping the racism sticker on it is too reductive. Okay? Are there people who are unimaginably racist? Of course there are. Okay? But simply saying, nah, they're just racist, they don't give a fuck, is not enough. It's not going to help you understand the situation. Okay? Because if that was the case, then Americans would not respond negatively to like someone who is saying that they're an open Nazi. I talk about this all the time. There's a concept of permissible bigotry. Okay? Permissible bigotry. So, like, if you look at the pre-existing hierarchies, forms of oppression that are systemic and point to them and demand more of them, then it doesn't read as like you being bigoted. You can always rely on common sense. I just have common sense. I'm just saying that, like, you know, if these guys are being violent and, you know, they're doing more crime, then yeah, of course the police have to be brutal to them. Like, that's just common sense. That doesn't read as racist. You know what reads as racist? When you say black people are genetically inferior and therefore must be dominated by a fucking brutal force. That is racist. Both messages are communicating the same thing, but one is not giving the game away. There's a reason why there has to be dog whistles, okay? There is a reason why Lee Atwater's famous quote is still very prescient, okay? Americans don't like it when you say something that is so unhinged that they're like, oh, like, even if I agree with you, I feel like you're making me feel bad, okay? Do our politicians have the data within their parties and governmental agencies that suggest the same thing that you're saying? I'm not doubting anything you're saying. It's just hard to believe. Dude, what are you talking about? I'm showing you data that is readily available. Like, what? If I have access to it, they have access to it too. It's not like I'm making this up from my ass. I'm not like fantasizing about it. I'm showing you actual polls. That's it. People like what I have to say. They just don't like the word Nazi Stormfront. Exactly. Exactly. That's it. Have you watched a new Jubilee? No, not yet. Yeah, it's just like that lady, Valentina Gomez or whatever, in Missouri that chat was talking about over and over again. She was popping off on Twitter. She was using the F slur, the homophobic, queerphobic F slur, saying like F slurs need to fucking stay hidden or whatever. And everyone was like, oh, look how many fucking likes she's getting. She's going to do gangbusters in the fucking, the Missouri, what was it, like? It was some state office that she was running for. And she got like 7th place. People don't like when they have to face the actual racism with like, yeah, Secretary of State. Yeah, she got fucking destroyed in Missouri. And I told you at the time, if she were to say this in public, she'd get her ass beat even in Missouri. Okay? Even if people agree with her on the issue of like gay people being weird or whatever, when you say the quiet part out loud, most people go, ugh, gross. You understand? Anyway, politicians can be just as arrogant and stupid as your fucking neighbor who's real good chaps, the most important people in your town's leadership, intellectually lazy and scared of change. That might mean they haven't changed their monthly wine selection budget. Yes, exactly. Fox News co-host Lauren, right-wing media have used the poll questions about mass deportation to claim the majority support Trump's proposed policy, not revealing that there is another side of this data that always shows that people are also simultaneously on board with pathway to citizenship. Okay? So what our billionaire friend was saying in that poll that he conducted on Twitter is correct. Most Americans, not on Twitter, but most Americans, like real Americans, when you talk to them about mass deportation versus pathways to citizenship, will absolutely prefer pathway to citizenship. Another thing you have to remember is that many Americans, especially many Americans, especially Republicans, arrive at their conclusions because they just don't fucking know how to read. Okay? They simply are not literate. They are illiterate. Okay? Maybe they know how to read, kind of, but like they don't do the reading, if you know what I mean. That's precisely the reason why, although I am I would say, somewhat knowledgeable on the issue of immigration, public attitudes towards immigration, the impact of migration, and the negative consequences supposedly of immigration in general. Whenever someone approaches me and goes, what do you mean it's racist that you don't want illegal aliens coming over the border? And I ask them a couple questions about like what you think is the negative harm of people immigrating into the United States of America. They just start making shit up. It's that simple. They're like, oh, I don't know. They're trafficking drugs in their buttholes. It's like, no, they're not. Okay. Data shows the exact opposite. Oh, there's a sense of criminality. It's like, nope. Or the other side of it, people don't know how long it takes for people to legally migrate to the United States of America. They have no fucking clue, right? They don't know. They'll be like, oh, why don't they come in legally? It's like, dog, what are you talking about? Do you know that fucking process? Like at least minimum 7 years, okay? That's insane. Minimum 7 years. Even then, it's not guaranteed. So it's ridiculous to just be like, yeah, we shouldn't make that an easier process so that we can, integrate people quickly so they can become meaningful participants of the American economy, right? Which many people would be on board with, by the way, if suggested as an alternative to mass deportation and concentration camps, mind you, okay? People don't even think about that. They just don't know. They don't know basic facts about this shit. Suddenly, Harris's edge in Michigan looks to be the strongest for either candidate in swing states. Anyone have any theories on why that would be? Michigan poll, Kamala Harris at 52.2%, Donald Trump at 47.7%. Anyway, I don't know. It took me 20 years to get citizenship. Yeah. I think it could be the Juggalos. Not gonna lie, the Juggalos coming out helped quite a bit with Kamala's chances, The Juggalos have officially endorsed Kamala Harris. This is true. And then Obama rapped Mom Spaghetti, and America was like, that's right, this is our time. This is correct. Meanwhile, Americans were like, at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break, and I have to avoid seeing those ads. I must subscribe. In recent weeks, Republicans have flooded the airways with anti-trans attacks, but our new polling finds that voters would prefer a candidate who stays out of people's private lives over one who supports anti-trans legislation. When it comes to trans issues, voters trust Democrats more than Republicans. They say Republicans have the most extreme stance. Anyway, here's a 3-minute ad break now. 100% of voters no longer want to see the ads, and that's why they must subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting their Amazon Prime account to their Twitch account. Here's a 3-minute ad break now. So is there no problem with immigration? Are Republican and Democratic politicians discussing it in the same way? I thought that qualifying the problem, if one exists, isn't a bad idea. From what I've gathered from Vice President Harris, the problems are at no fault of immigrants. It's our ability to process immigrants are the problem. Similar to our problem with the top of the hour ad break. You were early, bud. Okay, you were actually too late, my friend. Anyway, voters reject candidates who support anti-trans legislation. A candidate who says that we need laws that restrict access to transgender healthcare and keep biological boys out of girls' sports. All likely voters. A candidate who says that the government should stay out of people's private lives and that there's too much legislation targeting a small minority population. Every single person that has historically said, Hassan, you are wrong to tackle the trans issue when talking to transphobes with this exact line of communication is eating crow for years. Whenever motherfuckers come to me and they're like, whoa, this hyper specific thing about 3 trans participants in the fucking high school swim meet is the only thing we should talk about. What did I always say? Why do you fucking care about this, you goddamn loser? You're out of your fucking mind. Okay? You're out of your goddamn mind. No normal person gives a shit about this. You're a fucking deranged lunatic. You have been primed by right-wingers to act like you give a shit about this. Debate perverts love this shit. They loved it. They were like, we got to talk about this endlessly. We got to offer endless amounts of fucking content surrounding this issue and then concede to the right-wing framing on it. It's like, shut up. It is inconsequential. Sometimes things are a little off, okay? Things don't make a lot of sense immediately. Okay? And people love picking apart those things. They love making you hyper focus on it and try to fucking create a wedge issue there. You don't have to concede. Okay? You do not have to concede. The trans panic was a perfect example of this. And some of you dumb fucks, even in this community, constantly fucking yelled about this shit. I will never forgive nor forget all of the fucking Bonercelli, Vosh, all of the fucking debate perverts out there who were like, Hassan, I can't believe you got owned by fucking Christian Walker. When I literally was like, you don't care about this. Can you tell me who was the second place winner in this fucking swim meet in this example that you're suggesting? You do not actually care about this. You don't. And everyone was like, oh, you got owned in that debate. No, I didn't, dumbass. No, I fucking didn't. This is the proper way to communicate on this issue. You do not have to constantly talk about this dumb nonsense. Nobody cares. Americans broadly think trans people are kind of weird. I don't really get it, but they're also getting dunked on unfairly. That's their opinion, okay? That's the opinion of the average American. They're like, I don't really understand it. It's weird to me, but like, I don't care enough to want to kill them or want to legislate them out of existence. Republicans, on the other hand, like the fucking monstrous delusional losers that they are spending a metric ton of fucking ads specifically on this issue. And it's very stupid. It is very stupid. Republicans literally broke their own possible red wave in the 2022 fucking midterms because they did this. They did this over and over again. And people were like, I don't care. You will never make me care about this. Okay? You come across like a mentally ill psychopath when you constantly talk about the, woke gender shit that's going on in high schools. Okay? You're obsessed and you can't see the world outside of your immediate horse blinders when you get fucking mentally ill and laser focused on trans existence, so much so that you know the latest and greatest in trans tech. You know the latest and greatest in like trans culture. You know more about trans people than actual fucking trans people. At that point, you've lost your mind. You've lost your dang mind. It's like weird. It's sexual pathology. It's like a hyper focus, a hyper fixation that comes across as gross to normal people. Okay? Like, which message resonates with voters meme, okay? Democrats want you to stay out of people's private lives in terms of, offering medical care to trans people. Or, we need to kill every trans person. We need to make sure that they are forcibly regendered to be their biological sex. They're stealing people's participation trophies in high school swim meets. I am going to now write state legislation that directly targets 3 trans 14-year-olds. This is my effort. This is my time. We need to send bomb threats to the children's hospital now. Which one is better? Which message resonates with voters, you think? Which message resonates with voters? You're a fucking weirdo, dude. You're a weirdo. You're a fucking weird freak. You're a nasty little pervert. I don't care. I don't want to hear from you. You fucking psychopath. If they present in the way that you did the second one, yeah, dude. Okay, good one. Let's not get angry about passive Ans Lamau, but yes, you were 100% right. Yes, I was always right. I'm always right. Too early, though. And to be right too early is basically being wrong, okay? That's what it is. Anyway, the other issue here is anti-trans ads are now #1 TV topic for the Trump campaign. The economy's #5. As Mark notes, it could either reset culture war politics for years to come in presidential races, or if Trump loses, go down as a major, even historical tactical blunder. Astonishing data point in this, Mark, a Capito piece. Since President Joe Biden left the race on July 21st, Republicans have spent about $120 million on ads attacking their Democratic rivals over trans issues. Okay, I gave a warning after the 2022 midterms. I said either the Republicans are gearing up to make this the #1 culture war issue and they're gonna fucking successfully break the brains of enough Americans that they also become little Matt Walsh style terrorists, okay, which is genuinely scary, even more scary than what America is going to look like in the next fucking 4 years. Or most people are going to look at this and be like, dude, I don't care. I just want fucking eggs to be cheaper, man. What the fuck? Just shut up. I don't want to even think about this. Okay? That's it. That's it. That's it. And it kind of seems like I'm right. Turns out most Americans just don't hate trans people the way Republicans desperately want them to. Americans fucking don't care. Okay? They do not care. 64% of Americans say trans people are discriminated against. You are fucking dumb. You are so echo chambered, so hug boxed by watching an unlimited amount of Daily Wire videos and only spending your time on Twitter. And you have deluded yourself into thinking other Americans also give a shit about this. Okay? They don't care. 64% of Americans think trans people are being discriminated against. That's crazy. That's like a fucking higher number than black people, dog. What the fuck are you talking about? Because it's true, but that's not the point. Like, it's obviously true, but think about that. Think about that. Like, how do you make that work? How do you make $120 million of trans panic ads work in an environment where 64% of Americans say trans people are being discriminated against? According to our new polling released today, a majority of voters and independents by 23-point margin think these ads have gotten out of hand. Voters agreed transgender people should be treated with respect and disagree with the use of anti-transgender political ads. Oh, another fucking Hasanabi vindication moment. How many times have I said this? And it's understandable that my trans chatters regularly get fearful because the deck is stacked against you. But how many times have I fucking duked this out with people in this chat? It's because anti-trans shit, once you go, there's two routes that you can take on the trans stuff, okay? You can either be like, yeah, they're weird, I don't get it, but let them live, who gives a fuck? Or you can be like, they're weird, they're actually undermining Western society, and I will make it my life's mission to like literally destroy them. And yes, I would say around 10% of Americans have hit that fucking right-wing slant, including the likes of Dave Chappelle, for example. And slowly but surely, they just never stop thinking about it. That's why I said, like, being a TERF is the actual mental illness. Like, being transphobic is the mental illness, the real mental illness, because, like, you just start thinking that there's, like, a trans person lurking in every fucking corner. You think, like, everything is trans, right? It becomes the only thing you think about. Now, that's a small percentage of people that are really, like, really motivated on this stuff, okay? But that small percentage comes across as gross to the rest of society. They're like, what? Okay, stop. I don't want to even think about this. I don't want to think about, like, child mutilation. Like, that's insane. What the fuck are you talking about? This does not mean that Americans are fucking flag-bearing, pro-trans individuals. I've never said that. Make no fucking mistake. Okay? It just simply means most Americans are disinterested in this issue, and constantly harping on it over and over again makes them negatively polarized against you. Okay? Transgender people deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. 49% strongly agree. 25% somewhat agree. Strongly disagree 8%, somewhat disagree 10%. That's a net 56, dude. Republican candidates using anti-LGBTQ rhetoric as a part of their campaigns is sad and shameful. 41% of Americans strongly agree. 20% of Americans somewhat agree. Political attack ads against the transgender community have gotten mean-spirited and out of hand. 33% of Americans strongly agree. 21% of Americans somewhat agree. This data came from 1,200 votes. That's so funny. Yeah, you're right. 1,200 is not a statistically representative sample. What are we talking about? How is it that every time I look at any poll or any survey, okay, there are people who just fundamentally don't understand how statistics works, like an entire field, and people just simply refuse to comprehend how this works. It's called a sample, okay? 1,200 is an adequate sample size. Oh God, I don't want to even talk about that. Anyway, stats need to be required at school. Yes. So why did I bring this up? Why did I talk about this? Because it's fucking dumb, and it is causing, in my opinion, for the Republicans to look even more extreme and more silly in all of the areas where they're pumping these fucking ads. Okay? Having said that, here's Kamala Harris on this issue from the NBC interview. Kamala Harris is asked by Haley Jackson if transgender Americans should have access to gender-affirming care.
Let me ask you this question, very broadly speaking here.
Sure.
Do you believe that transgender Americans should have access to gender-affirming care in this country?
You should talk to Dean Withers. Is that Spider-Man? Is that liberal Spider-Man? Because I've been thinking about having him on the stream. I like his stuff. I like his gumption. Liberal Spider-Man, Spider-Lib. Yeah, I like the wear. I don't know. He's a little too libbed up. I don't care. Yeah, he is. I know. He got moxie. Yeah, that's right. He's got moxie. You see? I can see the future. Don't do it. I like the cut of his jib. That's right. The kid's got spunk. He's got moxie. I like the way he carries himself in debates. Yeah, he is like super. He is omega libbed up. But I think it's good to. I think it's good to talk to guys like that. I don't want him to. I don't want him to go down like the debate lord trap, the debate lord trappings, and hopefully I can provide him a decent path forward.
Country.
I believe we should follow the law.
That's your answer, dude. You are running for president. The question is designed to see what you will do if you are president, okay? You are the vice president right now. You are running for president. The question is not, will you follow the fucking law? The question is, what will you do if you are president? You make the law as president. What the fuck?
I mean, I think you're probably pointing to the fact that Donald Trump's campaign has spent tens of millions of dollars.
They're trying to define you on this.
Yes,
I'm asking you to define yourself, though. Just
yeah, like literally, that's the question. How will you operate? Okay, how will you operate? The question is, what will you do? What will you fucking do?
Broadly speaking, what is your value? Do you believe they should have that access?
I believe that people, as the law states, even on this issue about federal law, that is a decision that doctors will make in terms of what is medically necessary. I'm not going to put myself in the position of a doctor.
Good. She should have said she should have fucking said, wait, what do you mean, huh? No, did I misunderstand? Yeah, she's saying, keep it between a fucking doctor and a patient. That's smart. She should have said that at the beginning. She's like, I don't think that we should be fucking putting ourselves as the big government, big scary government in these fucking decisions. Medical experts are making these decisions. You did? She's not saying that. She's saying follow the law. Yeah, but the point is the law as it stands currently is in favor of protecting. She's saying if your doctor doesn't think it's medically necessary, I'm not supporting you. I read it differently. I think that she said it's medically necessary. Yeah, I don't think that's a problem. Like, that is not a bad way to communicate this, okay? No, that is a fair way to communicate this, saying that medical professionals make this medical intervention when they deem it medically necessary, and that should be the law. That is the law, and that should remain the law, is the best possible way to say it. My only problem with this is that she didn't come out of the gate swinging with that. Like, this is a ridiculous line of questioning. I don't think that the government should interfere with the best standards and practices in terms of a medical decision that a professional doctor and a patient are coming together to arrive at, right? Hassan dodges accountability like an Asian man in a dodgeball game. What? Dude, why are my fucking number one naysayers so weirdly gross like all the time? Like, they just... Is decent to liberal, it's not great, but as a trans person, it's good messaging to the regular voter. Yes. I think that this is the best pathway forward in terms of communicating trans issues. Like I said, a candidate who says that the government should stay out of people's private lives and that there's too much legislation targeting a small minority population and these decisions should be kept between a doctor and a patient and the government should not step in there is the best way to communicate, okay? Because the reality is that we don't do this kind of thing for anything else. We don't have these kinds of arguments for diabetics getting insulin, you know? Can you imagine Christian medicalists decide, actually, no, like medical intervention cannot happen. You should pray it away. You should pray when you have a gunshot wound, we have to pray for it, okay? We cannot actually do medical intervention and then they start trying to legislate this, you'd be like, what the fuck are you saying? What are you saying? We should just pray a gunshot wound away. Get the fuck out of here. It's no different. It's no different when we have this conversation with abortions. It's no different when we have this conversation with HRT for trans people. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The only difference there is most people understand, like, yeah, Christian medicalists are fucking psychopaths, and that a gunshot wound must get the proper fucking medical attention. Whereas people on the other hand are like, trans people are kind of weird, so maybe I'll hear it out. Except turns out they don't. They don't want to hear it. They think it's gross when people fucking constantly harp on trans people. I think some chatters are falling into the opposite spectrum of Ben Shapiro on trans people, that all corners should get that care without any vetting that is appropriate, then is appropriate. I don't know about that, and I don't really care about that right now anyway. But overall, I think that it's understandable that people are fearful that trans medicalism is also like somewhat of a dangerous prospect here as well, where you can just get like enough doctors to be like, yeah, actually, we shouldn't do any sort of fucking HRT whatsoever. And then all of a sudden, you're pushing the consensus in the opposite direction. And that's a fear that a lot of trans people have, I think. And that's an understandable fear that they have. But in terms of communicating, I think this is a solid way to do it. It still most likely leaves enough room to throw trans people under the bus come next election cycle. And that's an understandable fear that people have. I get that. Here was President Biden's message to trans people in 2022.
For our LGBTQ plus Americans, let's finally get the Bipartisan Equality Act to my desk. The onslaught of state laws targeting transgender Americans and their families, it's simply wrong. And I said last year, especially to our younger transgender Americans, I'll always have your back as your president so you can be yourself and reach your God-given potential.
It's like kind of wild. Like this man said in the first 100 days, put a bill in front of me and I'm signing a pathway to citizenship. I'm doing amnesty. I'm doing conditional amnesty to immigrants in 2020. And then in 2024, he's like, oh, look alive, Jack. I'm building the border wall. Like, again, 2020, they're like, they try to do a gotcha on him. I'll never forget that classic, like, toilet paper USA dumbass charlatan walking up to Brandon and being like, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, how many genders are there? And he goes, at least 3. Or no, he's at least 2. Did he say at least 2 or at least 3? That was awesome. That was awesome. Great way to deal with it. Just fucking say, I don't know. I just got here. It's great. People try to pick apart cynically whatever your fucking answer is when you are motivated by empathy, when you are motivated by finding the best pathway forward. And I think that it's really silly when dumbasses that don't even know how to fucking read, okay, turn around and start discussing the science of the matter. It was, in my opinion, one of the more annoying aspects of like the COVID denialism that ran rampant throughout American society. People were just like, you don't understand. These words that I can't even fucking read nor spell are actually inside of the fucking vaccine, and that's turning me gay and also autistic. It's like, no, dude, shut the fuck up, okay? Please. We leave so much to the scientists. Like, this is another one of those moments, okay? There are people who have spent their entire fucking lives trying to find cures, trying to understand how epidemics happen, trying to understand how fucking pandemics happen. Please, you are not an epidemiologist. You are not a fucking medical professional. Please, for the love of Christ and all things holy, shut your stupid fucking mouth up, okay? I get it. It's scary. You're going to get a fucking boo-boo. And you don't want that. But, like, please. I hate that. I hate it so much. And people love doing it for every issue. It's one of the most annoying aspects of American culture. And the idea that, like, you're an exceptional human being and you are individually an American citizen, and therefore your opinion is unique and you came up with it on your own, and now everyone has to fucking listen to you. And it's like, if we fucking ran the world with that principle, okay, if we ran America with that fucking principle, and We might actually. Holy shit. I'm staring down a future Trump presidency right now and seeing that. You would die of dysentery, okay? 3 days in, you'd be like, well, the FDA, I don't give a fuck. You know, no more FDA. Sorry. No more fucking, no, yeah, you get E. coli from your McDonald's burger, which already happened. It's just so fucking stupid. It is so stupid that you take for granted the professional consensus on so many things that literally cause your dumbass not to fucking die the moment that you come out of the fucking womb. And you take all of that for granted while simultaneously shitting on it every day. Meanwhile, the things that you're shitting on are keeping your dumbass alive. Okay? It makes me so mad. Sometimes I go, you know, maybe medical science has gone too far. Maybe we shouldn't have fucking saved everybody, okay? It's so frustrating. And you got dummies like fucking Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, and the like also advocating against this principle while they also benefit from it. And they have this like veneer of intellectualism attached to their position so they can like get away with saying this shit to even dumber people who go, hell yeah, that guy's a smarty pants. He's saying it. He's a fucking nerd. And he's saying it. I believe it too. It's like, fuck, man. I test the water for the EPA. My wife does quality assurance on foods for the USDA. People have no idea how many people work to keep them from being poisoned. I know. And it's so fucking frustrating that there are people, thousands, hundreds of fucking thousands, hundreds of thousands of people working every single day to ensure that there is a level of protection that you take for granted. Okay? When you go to the grocery store, you do not have to worry that the meat that you purchase is going to fucking kill you. All right? But nobody thinks about that. Nobody thinks about that because it's happening behind closed doors. Okay? Now, having said that, is the FDA perfect? No, it's not. Okay? Of course it's not. There's a revolving door. There are a lot of the regulatory agencies that turn around and unironically staff themselves with people that technically go and either work for the corporations that they're supposed to regulate or work there and then go and work for the corporations or work for the corporations and then go work in the regulatory agencies. Okay, and that is by design for sure, right? So it's not perfect and there is some level of corruption. Okay, there is some level of corruption. Regulatory capture is a real problem. But having said that, the solution is not to further cripple these agencies, underfund them even more, and then cause them to perish. Okay? The solution is to fund them better. The solution is to ensure that there isn't regulatory capture. USDA's meat, not the FDA. USDA and the FDA. As a federal public health researcher, thank you. It's just so, it tilts me to no fucking end. That's something I hate here in Sweden. Social safety nets get defunded, blame the social programs, then they get defunded even more. I know. Sorry, I've lost faith in the FDA. Okay, dude, fuck it. But you don't trust the FDA isn't corrupted by the pharmaceutical industry? That is such a vague generalization that I don't even know how to tackle this subject. Like, I don't know what you mean when you say that. Okay? Money. No, that you're just, your answer is still vague. Tell me exactly what you mean and we can have a conversation over it. You can't just be like, money. All right? Like there's certain aspects of your, I guess, overall sentiment that I might agree with, but I don't know what you mean. Okay? But every step of the way, deregulation and underfunding these institutions, underfunding these regulatory agencies is a massive fucking problem. Okay? Same with the EPA. Same with the FTC. Same with the NLRB. You will never get me to say we have to fucking abolish these agencies. It's the exact opposite. We have to instill public trust in these agencies once again. We have to fund these agencies. We have to make sure that these agencies work properly. When people look to these crippled institutions, okay, and they say they're not working appropriately due to regulatory capture, or due to moneyed interest corrupting their impact. If you say we have to fucking destroy these institutions, well, then you're literally arguing on behalf of the people that corrupted the institutions to begin with. Like you are now a loyal servant of moneyed interests. And many people don't understand this. Anyway, on every economic issue surveyed, Kamala Harris has closed the trust gap or even surpassed Trump as a candidate as swing state voters trust more. Taxes, interest rates, housing costs, healthcare costs, cost of everyday goods, and gas prices. I can't believe that Donald Trump just simply... I think there's a bunch of different reasons for this. One, we have concepts of a plan, is what Donald Trump said. Okay? Two, not only did Trump just do a spectacularly bad job at this, he also hyper-focused on dumbass shit too much. Every time they ask him about, like, what are you going to do for the economy? He would just turn around and be like, we're going to deport 20 million immigrants. What are you going to do for the economy, sir? Nuclear warming is a massive problem. Sir, how will you protect our jobs? I am going to deport every trans immigrant. It's the transgenders that are stealing your jobs. It's like, okay. Well, that's not really a good answer, is it, sir? Or we're going to do tariffs. We're going to do trade protectionism in industries that currently don't exist in the United States of America without taking the initiative to fund the manufacturing, the domestic manufacturing to make up for the additional tariffs, which is so fucking stupid. That's just more inflation. I don't understand how Americans hear him say this and go, hell yeah, baby. That's right. Tariffs are coming. They're going to take over China. It's like, bro, his merchandise is made in China. What the fuck are you talking about? You know what that would do, by the way? Tariffs on all Chinese goods. Ironically, you know what that would do? That would destroy the Trump merchandise economy, which we know is a pivotal part of the heartland, the rural American industry, okay? Because all those motherfuckers are getting that ugly ass shit directly shipped out of China. It would destroy them. No more MAGA hats. No more ugly ass t-shirts with Donald Trump on it with his like fucking, with his six pack, with eagles flying behind him. None of that. Can't do it. Now you have to pay an additional price. You have to pay this extra tariff fee when you purchase those things. You're fucked.
Making sure voters cast a ballot.
Black man vote.
Billy Miller is the state director for the nonpartisan group Black Men Vote.
Can you put into words how important turnout is?
It is the most important thing in this election. If every Philadelphia voter came out and voted one way or another, it wouldn't matter what the rest of Pennsylvania did.
A senior campaign official says next week the vice president will make what they are calling a closing argument speech on the National Mall, the very same spot where Trump delivered his January 6th remarks right before the assault on the Capitol. Tony?
Alicia, thank you very much.
Well, you know what they're going to be talking about there. Harris cites former Trump chief of staff John Kelly's characterization of Trump during the town hall. It's coming.
In a primetime town hall last night, she called Donald Trump a fascist who fans the flames of hate. Following on the warnings of former Joint Chiefs Chairman Mark Milley and retired Marine General John Kelly, who both said Trump fits the definition of a fascist. The former president lashed out at Kelly, his longest-serving White House chief of staff, who also said that Trump praised Adolf Hitler and wants to rule like a dictator.
Our team across the country with 12 days to go. Rachel Scott is in Atlanta, tracking Trump. John Carl in Nebraska on the impact of the pivotal state. Aaron Katursky on election security concerns. And our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, starts us off in Philadelphia. Good morning to you, Mary.
Good morning, Robin. Well, in these final days, Kamala Harris is really ramping up her argument that Donald Trump is unfit and a danger to democracy, saying flatly overnight that she does think Donald Trump is a fascist. But when pressed by undecided voters to define her policies and positions, she often turned to defining Donald Trump instead, eager to make clear to voters the stark choice they're now facing. Overnight at a town hall in Pennsylvania, Vice President Kamala Harris saying she agrees with Donald Trump's longest-serving chief of staff, retired four-star Marine General John Kelly, when he says Trump fits the definition of a fascist.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And
like, great. I don't have an issue with that statement. Awesome. Where was this energy for the past 5 months or whatever? They make it seem like Trump talks about policy at all. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, we all know that the deck is stacked okay, against the Democrats always. They treat Democrats as the adults in the room, and then they fucking bully them, especially when they give dog shit fucking answers. There's never a moment when motherfuckers are like, wait a minute, how are you going to lower the prices, Mr. President? Donald Trump, how are you going to lower the prices? Like, no one asked this question. How are you going to deport 20 million people that you say live on U.S. soil? Like, how? Walk me through the process. Walk me through the economic impact. If you're not even going to think about the humanity of this process, walk me through the economic impact. Walk me through the economic impact you perceive tariffs will have on prices, okay, when there is no domestic manufacturing substitute. Explain that to me. Explain that to me. Explain the vision of America that you have. Never a question is ever asked to Donald Trump on any of this shit, okay? It is deeply frustrating. Not only that, but also then whenever they ask Kamala and she gives this dog shit middle of the ground fucking answer, right? Whenever they ask Kamala similar questions and she just sits there and gives this like wishy-washy nonsensical answer, they fucking turn around and they do the Daniel Dale like, well, actually, Kamala Harris said 2% of the wall was funded. Actually, it was 5%. And it's like, what? What are you? She didn't even fucking respond. She didn't even respond to the question. This is ridiculous. This is utterly ridiculous, okay? Everything is fucked. Everything. Like, across the board, everything is fucked. The liberals are cooked. They don't give good answers to any of these fucking questions. The media across the board does not have, like, an even-handed approach to this at all. And because they're so desperately, constantly trying to fucking make themselves seem impartial, they end up treating the Democrats like the only serious party and never really having these considerations for the Republicans, okay? Which is also very dangerous, which is also very devastating.
Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are not taking the same exam.
Yeah.
And I think it bothers people. They're not taking the same exam. He gets to be lawless. She has to be flawless. That's what's unfair. That's what's unfair. That's what's unfair tonight. That's what's unfair tonight. They're not taking the same exam. Look, she has policies. She may not articulate them perfectly every time. She may not put the stories in the right places, but she's fighting for actual ideas that will help real people. And he's talking about people's penises. And so they are not taking the same exam, and that's pissing people off. It's pissing me off.
Well, and I'm also old enough to remember that if your fiscal plans were actually said to bankrupt the Social Security Trust Fund in sooner years, Donald Trump's, that would be a campaign-destroying issue. But
going camping with my hogfather this weekend, there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to bring up politics. How do I adequately counter the Trump energy independence argument? We already have energy independence, and that was basically fucking completed under the Obama reign. So whenever these fucking guys talk about energy independence, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. That's number one. Number two, energy independence doesn't actually mean that we have real energy independence. What do I mean by this? Great example of this is the OPEC Plus cartel that kept up the supply of oil relatively low in an effort to keep prices high under the Biden administration. So to counter that, the Biden administration went to the American domestic oil producers and said, you need to fucking make up for this gap. The oil producers literally turned around and very publicly, openly stated on television, we do not care about your demands. We only care about our bottom line. I have a fiduciary responsibility to protect my shareholders. I will not be increasing oil supply in order to keep up with the fucking demand, okay? In order to adjust prices for the American manufacturers. That should have been the first moment where the Brandon regime turned around and said, okay, great, DPA time, okay? That's great. I love that. We're nationalizing our extraction industries. They'll never do that, of course. It doesn't fucking matter. Shale has a high production cost to OPEC, can cook American producers by keeping oil prices low. No, we're talking about keeping oil prices high. In moments where oil prices are kept high by OPEC Plus, which they did do, right? They did that. It also played a role in the inflation crisis that Americans were experiencing. Love you, but your oil and gas knowledge is so off. The OPEC cuts were negotiated by Trump in 2020. Our domestic production has done nothing but go up. No. It's not necessarily about our domestic production. It's where that domestic production goes. That's the problem. Our domestic production has gone up. The issue is, where do you give that domestic production? If you're still selling to the international marketplace instead of selling it to, instead of producing it and selling it and keeping it within American boundaries, you can greatly adjust the oil prices no matter what OPEC does. Am I wrong? U.S. oil giants that take advantage of massive subsidies in order to keep their profits as high as possible, literally continuously export instead of keeping domestic oil production internally in an effort to adjust when OPEC decides to fucking lower the supply of oil. If you lower the supply of oil and demand is going up, obviously prices are going to fucking stay super high. In order to make up for that lack of supply necessary to keep prices low at the point of consumers, like when you're going to the fucking gas station, you have to either ramp up supply of oil domestically, which they have, right? And not allow certain exports to occur. That is completely unacceptable. It's beyond question. Like that will never happen. Yeah. As prices go up, exports go up as well. OPEC's surprise output hike offers Biden break on gas prices. Move may reduce gasoline prices as Americans head to polls. Biden has taken unique ownership over prices at the pump. What the fuck? Hold on. Fuck yeah. I did it. This was in June 4th, 2024. U.S. President Joe Biden may have just received a timely election boost from an unlikely source. OPEC Plus's decision on Sunday to put more oil in the global market potentially keeps a lid on gasoline prices through the end of the year, which could help cool voters' wrath over the cost of the pump. Even though U.S. presidents have little control over oil markets in the short term, their fortunes have often been tied to prices at the pump, with voters not hesitant to punish politicians for expensive fill-ups. And with signs posted prominently at corner stations, the cost of fuel remains one of the most visible inflation indicators. The Biden administration has clearly gotten a big dollop of relief here, said Bob McNally. All output boost in October may keep gasoline prices in check. You are not wrong. There are just a few important details. For example, SPR. The U.S. has no direct role in OPEC, but its relationship with OPEC members, especially Saudi Arabia, can indirectly affect oil prices. Our influence is important. Obviously, if we suddenly decide to support a foreign nation that is threatening Arab nations, that would be a lot harder. We do not have control over OPEC, okay? But we have a lot of influence over Saudi Arabia, okay? We have a lot of influence over Saudi Arabia, a tremendous amount of influence. The problem is OPEC can still decide not to play ball, but the entire principle surrounding energy independence is that what happened with the oil shock in the 70s never happens again. Okay? And American manufacturers took advantage of that to drill, baby, drill, improve and increase, like tremendously increase domestic oil production. The problem is they're still capitalists. So, of course, with that increase, they just continue pummeling exports because they're making more money that way. If they shut off exports and were forced to sell to American, to only, in times of need, in order to make up for the demand, when there is a lack of supply, in order to keep American oil prices, American gas prices at the pump low, you could, force these oil producers, domestic oil producers, to only sell to the United States of America, or at least limit how much exporting they can do. Gas is objectively far too cheap when everybody's buying pickup trucks they don't need that are larger than German Panzer tanks. I mean, that's an entirely separate part of this conversation. We're not having a conversation about the lack of fucking adequate public transit, for example, which would greatly fucking reduce the harm both on the environment and also reduce the harm when fucking oil prices shoot up. But it doesn't matter because you have to work within the confines of what America is currently. America is a gas-guzzling, car-dependent country across the board. No one is going to be able to single-handedly change that. So, especially not in the short term. So what I'm talking about right now is in the interim period, what America could do in terms of controlling its own domestic manufacturing and where they go. Oil prices have dropped almost 5% since OPEC and its allies agreed on Sunday to gradually unwind some production cuts starting in October, earlier than expected, a decision some analysts say may weigh on crude in the months ahead. The move also may boost oil flows in the global market just weeks ahead of the U.S. election in November, potentially lowering the cost of gasoline as voters head to the polls. Crude oil is the biggest factor in what consumers pay for gasoline in the U.S., accounting for more than half of the retail price. In a May Bloomberg News Morning Consult monthly tracking poll in the 7 key states that will decide the 2024 election, 30% of voters said gas prices were the most important economic factor to them. Voters in those states trusted Trump more than Biden to handle the issue by a margin of 49 to 32%. Yeah, larger vehicles are not a product of consumer preference, but auto producers trying to skirt regulation. Yes. Cafe standards, specifically. Moody's Analytics chief economist Mark Zandi said if gasoline falls towards $3 a gallon by election day, Biden should win re-election. But if prices rise to more than $4, Donald Trump is more likely to prevail. Prices averaged about $3.52 a gallon on Monday. The outcome on the presidential election isn't likely to hinge on abortion, immigration, or even climate change, Zandi said in a May 20 online opinion piece. It is likely dependent instead on the price of gasoline in the lead up to the vote. Soaring fuel costs emerged as a political albatross for Biden early in the summer of 2022 when pump prices peaked at more than $5 a gallon, giving Republicans a chance to bash his energy and climate policies before the midterm elections. Still, Biden has taken unique ownership over the issue, saying later that year that his decision to unleash a historic amount of crude from the nation's emergency supply provided motorists with relief at the pump. OPEC's move could keep gasoline out of the headlines through the summer, said Jim Lucier, managing director at Capital Alpha Partners, a research group in Washington. They are opening the door for their OPEC partners to produce more, but trying to maintain enough discipline to avoid a price collapse. Ironically, it would be at that price collapse going into the fall that would be the ultimate vindication for Joe Biden. Retail gasoline prices, a key issue for swing voters, have already risen 13% since the beginning of the year, according to the American Automobile Association. And while prices have retreated since mid-April, largely tracking a decline in crude, they typically climb during the summer as increased driving boosts demand. Asked about OPEC's decision on Monday, White House National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby said Biden's goal is to keep easing costs for drivers. Our focus is going to be on the price of the pump for consumers, and the president is confident that he's got strategies in place to do that. For Biden, the OPEC policy shift may also help negotiations on a historic defense pact with Saudi Arabia that would potentially reshape the Middle East and bolster U.S. positions in the region. We're going to give them fucking nukes for this, by the way. Anyway, I wonder what concessions they had to make to bring OPEC on board. I don't know. The pending production boost provides a beneficial backdrop for the U.S.-Saudi grand bargain negotiations, said Halima Croft, head of global commodity strategy at RBC Capital Markets. The decision to provide taper forward guidance will likely please officials in Washington who consistently maintain that a moderate oil price will help build congressional support for a deal. The move may also help Biden restock the Strategic Petroleum Reserve at more affordable crude prices. The administration has said it's willing to pay as much as $79.99 a barrel to refill the stockpile. U.S. price is currently more than $6 a barrel below that threshold. While OPEC's move is good news for the president, analysts say price gains are still possible later this year. Demand growth is expected to increase, and geopolitical tensions in the Middle East still hold potential to hamper crude supplies. This is the real reason why Joseph Robinette Brandon stopped Israel. Remember, he has no power over Israel. But for some weird reason, Israel did not fucking light Iranian nuclear facilities nor oil refineries on fire, as they said they would do, after Iran struck 3 targets inside of the Israeli Iron Dome and Arrows 1 through 3 defense and David slingshot boundaries. How did that happen? How is Israel not struck back yet? It almost feels like there are real secret red lines that Biden is unwilling to cross. Those secret red lines being lighting the entire fucking oil production in the region on fire with Iranian retaliation after Israel selfishly went and struck Iranian oil refineries. That's it. There is a real red line there, and that's why you haven't seen Israel behave this way. Now, Israel's fucking crazy. They might still say, fuck it, YOLO. Who knows? And it does seem as though that is still in play. Okay? Wasn't there a leak saying they'd strike back? No, the leak is that America was keeping a close watch on Israel's first strike capabilities, included but not limited to their nuclear arsenal. But ultimately, you have to look at what Israel has done. Israel always consistently and notoriously backs away from extra pressure when Iran strikes them. I'm at the Trump ASU rally and MSNBC interviewed me. And when they asked me where I got my news, I said from twitch.tv/Hasanabi. Hell yeah. like Biden has emboldened Israel to behave in whatever fucking insane ways that Israel wants to behave. But there are still obviously fucking red lines that they do not want Israel to cross. If left up to Israeli officials, I am certain that they would have struck Iran the first time. They would have struck Iran, not with like a drone strike or whatever, but like directly struck Iranian oil production. This would cause everything to fall apart. Something that you need to be reminded of, I guess, like the top of the hour ad break, which is why you should subscribe. It's funny, I say one thing about the FDA and you get upset, but you also see through the lies around Israel. What? Yeah, I get upset because you didn't actually fucking give me direct details as to what you think is going on with the FDA. If you were to tell me what you personally think is the problem, that we can criticize our government while also believing in our institutions. Wait, what? You just didn't tell me what your criticism is, dog. That's my issue. Anyway, let's continue.
And I also believe that the people who know him best on this subject should be trusted.
Kelly telling the New York Times Trump repeatedly praised Adolf Hitler, that he puts personal loyalty above loyalty to the Constitution, and that he has an affinity for dictators, claims that the former president's campaign has denied.
Certainly, the former president is in the far right area, certainly an authoritarian, admires people who are dictators. He has said that. So he certainly falls into the general definition of fascist, for sure.
The vice president warning that if Trump returns to the White House, people like General Kelly won't be there to stand up to him.
I think of it as he's just putting out a 911 call to the American people. Understand what could happen if Donald Trump were back in the White House. And this time, we must take very seriously those folks who knew him best and who were career people are not going to be there to hold him back.
Harris facing questions from undecided voters after Trump declined the invitation to a second debate. Alone on stage, Harris at times finding herself on the defensive.
When you talk about rich people paying their fair share, the really high earners may move their money offshore. If there are disincentives in the U.S., this could impact the economy. I would like to hear more nuts and bolts about your economic plans.
Sure. Thank you, Pam. So first of all, it is the case in the United States of America that billionaires, on average, pay less taxes as a percentage than teachers and firefighters and nurses.
I'm talking about hard workers like pound the street, have some success.
Yes, no, I understand, but I want to just let's set the scene, right?
Yeah.
So when I say that the richest among us need to pay their fair share, I am referencing that, and I need to reference that because sadly, Donald Trump, when he was president, gave tax cuts to the richest, to billionaires and big corporations.
And on immigration, she was pressed about her plan, a bipartisan compromise bill which includes $650 million set aside under Trump to build some border wall.
You don't think it's stupid anymore?
I think what he did and how he did it did not make much sense because he actually didn't do much of anything.
But you do want to build some wall.
I want to strengthen our border.
With the election just days.
I don't think Trump's base even carries the fascists. They're all for it. Yes, they are. People on Reddit hating on Cooper for that one. Yeah, I mean, there are moments where Anderson Cooper definitely fucking cooks Kamala Harris throughout this process. But the reality of the matter is she should not be in this position to begin with. Or at the very least, she should be able to message her way out of this, especially at this point. Like, come on. Like, if I could foresee an angle of attack months ago on the border wall shit and how much she's flip-flopped on that issue, like, her fucking staff should have also seen it. Her staff should have also seen it and found a good way to dance around it. It's crazy. Also, people forget that Anderson Cooper literally held her hand on the abortion stuff.
Is away, Harris repeatedly bringing the conversation back to her opponent.
He's going to sit there unstable, unhinged, plotting his revenge, plotting his retribution, creating an enemies list. I'm going to tell you, my list will be a list of how I address and continue to address the issues that you all are raising.
And the Harris campaign has now announced that next Tuesday, exactly 1 week from Election Day, she plans to give a major address, her closing argument, to the American people at the exact same site in Washington where Donald Trump addressed his supporters on January 6th. But first today, she'll be down in Georgia for a big get out the vote.
I know you talked about how dumb it is, and she's taking Republican standpoints, but can you tell me why she does it, though? Yes, because they like it. Because they like it. You know? That's it. Okay, that's a stupid answer. The smart answer is that they are fearful and too shy and too scared and too committed to a policy of always tacking to this fucking center, a policy of always tacking right. Okay? If I'm going to be as charitable as possible, I think it's because they are legitimately fucking terrified when they see one poll that says like 65% of Americans want mass deportations. They're like, okay, that's it. We're the mass deportation party as well. Okay. Why did you have to retweet me when I wasn't watching, shaking my head? Oh, I just did. Don't worry. I'm gonna get to that later. I heard you cooked, even though this is the #1 Hasanabi hater that you're fucking chummy with. I hope that he also did a good job against Ben Shapiro, because I'm not a fucking asshole. I don't care if you personally despise me and are a destiny orbiter like this guy. Mason's becoming a hog? Yeah. No. Do not underestimate the impact of donors. Yeah, dude. Donors definitely want mass deportations. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, dude? What? No, they don't. They want a steady flow of undocumented immigrants to stay undocumented so they can fucking hyper exploit them. But they don't want fucking mass deportations. What are you, crazy? Emma Vigeland caught all the smoke for no reason yesterday, Law. Who wants the mass deportations? Racists. What is this? You're in the Philly D video? Wait, about what? Mia Khalifa faces backlash for comments about veterans? Wait, what? Oh, damn. Dude, Philly D. I posted that this morning. That's crazy. I posted that this morning as a response to fucking Cappy. That's so funny that he like took that. That's awesome. Holy fuck, that got 11,000 likes. God damn. I didn't even realize. Holy shit. Philly D is a fucking content demon, dude. God damn, he's fast with it.
A daily dose of creator controversy news. We have Mia Khalifa making headlines right now. Right in that, because she's facing a ton of...
Dog, you guys want to know something fucking crazy? My mom is a reel head, okay? She watches a lot of Instagram reels. A lot of her Instagram reels are AI. I keep telling her, Mom, stop looking at the AI reels, because the algorithms just keeps feeding you more and more AI stuff. Okay. Like babies smiling and cackling as they like ride Roombas or whatever. And it's like, Mom, I know it looks real, but it's not. Okay. It's AI. She recognizes it. But then she's like, but it's still cute. I'm like, Mom, please don't look at the AI stuff, because I'm sorry, but like, it's going to break your brain. I'm worried. So that's #1. And she's aware of this stuff. So she will become a little bit more careful with this thing, right? Another reel that I caught her watching was Mia Khalifa getting interviewed by the New York Times. And I was like, Mom, do you know who that is? And she went, I don't know, a model or something. And I was like, no, that's a porn star. Mom, she is a porn model. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I just thought it was really funny that she was like, oh, look at this model talking about like how exploitative the industry is. Former porn star.
Backlash for comments that she made about the U.S. military and veterans, with her posting a video this week captioned public service announcement and saying,
good morning to everybody who is not in the U.S. military. Good morning to everybody who...
Oh, by the way, for the record, my parents know I dated a sex worker. Like they're not oblivious to this stuff.
Is sitting at home and not on soil that doesn't belong to them, fighting a war for a country that doesn't care about them. I hope you go over there and get your little brain all scrambled up with PTSD and then come back here and see how much the United States...
By the way, is Mia Khalifa a fucking Frogan head? Because like, I feel like this popped off after the Frogan shit, right? Like this was like going viral on fucking Twitter.
States cares about you, Pookie. See how much they care about you.
That's kind of crazy.
I piss my pants every time I see a falafel stand in Manhattan. Let's see how much the VA cares about you. Let's see what they tell you to do with your little broken brain from going over to fight a war that's not yours.
They're then adding that they would just tell these people to do breathing exercises because the government does not care about people who are back and no longer able to die for them. And so unsurprisingly.
So here's the thing. There's a way to communicate this and there's a way not to communicate it. And like, the thing is, especially if you're like visibly brown, you know, good luck. Like, you will never be able to say anything about veterans that people will like treat with any sort of seriousness. But in my experience as the #1 anti-veteran 9/11 lover, according to all of my haters, the appropriate way to communicate this sort of thing is not necessarily to be like, I hope you get PTSD, okay? But instead to talk about how little Americans give a fuck about veterans. Because that is the truth. I'm sorry, that's the truth, okay? And there are plenty of active duty motherfuckers in here right now, and they know that reality. There's plenty of fucking veterans in this goddamn community that know that reality, you know? You gotta optically change the way that you talk about this stuff, because if you don't, then every single fake veteran enjoyer, fake veteran respecter is going to be all up in your fucking DMs, be all up in your replies, being like, how dare you, you fucking bitch. I hope you go die. You're brown. I hope veterans kill you. It's like, the thing is, they're sending your ass out there not to defend American free speech or whatever the fuck. They're sending you out there because someone's making money. And virtually every single active duty and veteran kind of gets that. Unless they're the dumbest hogs of all time, you know, and there's plenty of them as well, usually in the Marine Corps. But most people kind of understand it. So at that point, I think the best possible thing to do is to say no one should have to sign their fucking life away to the Defense Department so that some fucking Raytheon executive can turn a tidy profit so that the shareholders can get, you know, marginally better returns on their fucking investment every goddamn quarter, while you get your shit blown off, you get your dick shot off protecting a goddamn poppy field so the CIA can have a funding operation for themselves. Okay? And then you come back here and all the promises that the American government told you turn out to be a lie. Okay? The problem we're having in Vetland lately is the PAYGO shit impacting benefits is fucked. Yeah. I'm sorry. You will never catch me being like, oh, dude, yeah. Thank you for your service so much, sir. Like, fuck that. Okay? You're a human being. I'm a human being. I'm going to treat you like a goddamn adult. Okay? You made a decision due to your financial circumstances or because your entire family is veterans and you had no other opportunity. You were like, this is the only thing I know. Okay? That's most of the fucking military. It's either the poverty draft, some of the most like exploited fucking people of all time, or you're escaping your circumstances, or you're from a military family. That's it. That is like what comprises, or you're an officer, which is, you know, and you're a freak and you're going to go to politics eventually and I despise you. But that's besides the point. That's a totally separate subject. We're not going to get into that. We're not going to talk about, you know, all the rich kids that get into the officers program and then, you know, and then inevitably become Yale law graduates that run for Congress. The point is, the American government doesn't give a shit about any of you. Okay? The American government does not give a shit about any of you. They care about profits. They care about the military-industrial complex. So that's why I always urge people to look for alternative sources of income and not to go and serve in the military, because you're going to get fucked up. No matter what you do, you are going to get fucked up. You get fucked up at basic, okay? You will get fucked up even during basic training. You will get PTSD. You can have tinnitus. You can have a litany of different complications, some of which, if you are very lucky or very unlucky, will be paid for by the VA. Okay? You either have to be super lucky to get 100% disability or super unlucky, okay? And nothing in between. So ultimately, it's not a good fucking avenue for gainful employment down the line. Why is it not a good avenue? Or why does it still exist? Well, because we need to keep extracting natural resources from the global south. We need to fucking maintain a militant presence everywhere around the world, 800 military bases, yada, yada, yada. We have to have these defense contracts that improve our domestic manufacturing, our output somehow, and someone's got to use those guns. Ultimately, if you do that, you can go serve thinking that you're maybe protecting and serving the nation and protecting fucking freedom of speech by, I don't know, fucking door knocking or breaking into the fucking houses of like random Afghan villagers, or, you know, directly calling air support on top of an Afghan village full of civilians, okay, in an effort to protect America. And then that shit fucks you up, and then you come back, and now you're 4 years behind everybody else, so you can get that same fucking communications degree that everybody else got and get, you know, and suck dick in the awful dog shit jobs market with your dog shit fucking degree that everyone else got before you. But now on top of that, you also have PTSD, and the motherfucking government is barely fucking helping you. Okay? It sucks. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't dog a comm degree, big dog. But that's it. That's usually what it is. That's usually what the fuck this is. It's always how it works. Okay? 7,000 soldiers died in combat in Iraq and Afghanistan combined. 130,000 plus veterans died by suicide since 9/11. 22 a day was the number. I believe it's a little bit lower now, but still, it sucks. It fucking sucks. Okay? I will always be respectful for people that, due to a litany of different circumstances and social conditioning, for the wrong reasons, right reasons, whatever, joined sold their soul to the American government and did most likely some heinous shit, or at least participated in heinous shit happening globally, okay? And then were conflicted by their service, and now very clearly and very deliberately say, don't do it. It's not a great idea. I'll always have endless respect for you, but if you're a hog, I'm going to treat you like a hog regardless, okay? You're talking infantry and combat support. You can get contracted to be a dental technician. How is it bad for someone of limited means? That's why I said you can also literally, there's a shit ton of parts in the military that have nothing to do with combat whatsoever. You're like, at the end of the day, offering like logistical support for people doing the bad shit. Okay? But one thing remains clear. If these social safety nets, including healthcare, were universally provided to every citizen unconditionally, something that every other OECD nation offers, if there was a mechanism of upward social mobility in the form of higher education that is also at cost, free, or literally paid, like some, or if not all, of the other OECD nations offer unconditionally to every single citizen, nobody would be joining the fucking military, or at least the recruitment numbers are already down, but it would be even worse, okay? That's the reality. But yeah, you got to be, you got to be careful with the way that you communicate these sorts of things, because if you don't say it in a careful manner, people love acting like they give a single solitary shit about the military and the veterans. It's their favorite thing. Their favorite thing is to be like, how dare you? They protected and served, sir. How dare you? I fucking love the veterans. Like, no, you don't, dude. You spit on them when you see them as like homeless people in the corner of your fucking eye, okay? You don't give a fuck. Nobody cares. They don't. Many people don't care. They just like to act like they care by saying thank you for your service. I think it's fucking bullshit. I think it's bullshit. I'd much rather be honest with every single veteran and every single active duty person that I talk to, okay? That's it.
A lot of different people had a lot of different thoughts. People writing things like wishing PTSD on people is never okay. Making fun of people with PTSD is never okay. Others saying Mia Khalifa's family fled the Middle East because of an ongoing war when she was a child, and she grew up in Maryland with the safety and stability afforded
to all Americans by the U.S. military. Yeah, that's right. It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with our geopolitical positioning and everything to do with like our military. Be clear, you calling our military members a hog? Wait, what? Yes. Do you not? Dude, this dude won't let you clip. Wait. You think that there aren't hogs that are veterans? Of course there are. What the fuck are you talking about? Talk to any veteran and they will be the first to tell you that yes, just like every other fucking aspect of life in America, there are hogs in the military and that there are smart people in the military too. The fuck are you talking about? See, this is what I mean. This is fake reverence, okay? You are offering fake fucking reverence. Like, you're offering this fake bullshit. You're like, what? How dare you? No, what are you talking about? You were going to tell me that there aren't fucking hogs that serve and then, you know, become even more hog-like? The fuck? The fuck are you talking about? What is this? What is this bullshit? Be clear. You're calling our military members a hog. First of all, put some respect on it. You're disrespecting a Korea veteran, okay? That's right. Put some fucking respect on it. Soldier, I did not see your salute hand go up. You will properly address your ranking officer with the dignity that he deserves. You are talking to a U.S. military Korea veteran. Now drop it, give me 50. Florida man, 850. This guy's pretending he doesn't know what you mean by hog so he can clip to others that don't know what hog means in this context. Yeah, there are, like, the military is no different than any other fucking aspect of American culture. Yes, some people are dumbasses that are in the military, and some people are smart. What do you mean? They unfollowed? Yeah, I think that their goal here was to try and get a clip, which is really funny. That's one opinion, chat. That's not always the case. Did you just call our military a hog? Say it loud and clear. With what you mean. Ha, this dude won't let you clip his own words. Be clear. Did you just call our military a hog? No, I didn't say all of the military are hogs. I just said the military is no different than anything else. There are hogs everywhere for those with eyes to see. I'm a vet and openly say fuck the military. The only time I really talk about my service, the milk dumbass veteran hogs for bigger tips when I'm bartending. That's what I'm talking about, dude. Sometimes it sucks being a veteran and a fan of yours, and it feels alienating sometimes. What do you mean? I have said a fuck ton of shit about specific veterans, as you might know, or maybe you don't, okay? Let's not bring that up right now. But having said that, I'm always honest. This isn't, like, I'm not one of those. There are a lot of leftists out there that are like, oh yeah, I'm the troop exploder. You know what I mean? Fuck the military, fuck the veterans. Like, no, I get it. You know, I get why people join. I have a lot of fucking veteran friends. Oh, far before I ever started doing political commentary. So I understand the context in which people go and serve in the military. People escaping homelessness, people escaping fucking drugs. Okay? A lot of it is the poverty draft. A lot of it is like lower middle income class individuals that come from like shitty backgrounds that are just like, oh, maybe this will give me an opportunity to get fucking upward social mobility by getting higher education, you know? Yeah, which way military man and his pictures of Mike Preisner or Chris Kyle? Yes. So Mia Khalifa said this. Chris Cappy responded, thank you, Mia, for using a platform to bring awareness of the broken mental health system for American veterans. I say she ain't wrong. America does not give a shit about its veterans unless they want to talk about immigrants when they love remembering that there are homeless vets. Chris responded with, America does more for its vets than any other country. 5% of the entire U.S. budget, $300 billion, is veterans benefits. I'm a veteran of Iraq. I'm able to get mental health whenever I need at the VA. But it's not perfect. Suicide is still a huge problem. Glad we're shining a light on it. So I think Chris is a pretty funny dude overall. I don't always agree with him, and I think he's like definitely has like hog-like tendencies every now and then. But you know, as a content creator, he's fine. The thing is he's right. Like as far as the suicide situation, it's like it's insane. Now the problem here is that a lot of the benefits that veterans get, people get for free without having to serve in other countries, you know? And my argument always is we should do that. That's like kind of my main thing. My main thing is you shouldn't have to get PTSD or fuck your body up during basic training even to be able to arrive at a crumb of these fucking benefits, you know? As a veteran with benefits, yes, that point sucks to deal with every day. It feels like you get lumped in with the hogs automatically, I guess. No, I don't do that at all. I'm not of this mindset at all that like all veterans are automatically hogs. I've never said that, and I don't believe that. There are, however, hog-like veterans, as most veterans will be the first to tell you. Not some of the best and brightest, you know. Anyway. So, another chatter made a great point saying, we don't treat them better. We just have way more vets than others. Yes. And the VA structure is also designed as like one of the only nationalized healthcare structures in this country And it's really devastating because you have no leverage. Like insurance normally works with leverage. You need to have healthy people pay into the program so that the unhealthy people can take out of the program. But all veterans need health care. Like really devastating versions. Like the really crazy amounts of health care, like nonstop. And that number is constantly fucking growing. The number of veterans that need healthcare is constantly fucking growing. It's the worst part of, this is the worst fucking process of all time, which is why many Republicans have tried to privatize the VA over and over again. I saw this license plate at the gas station recently and had to wait till he came out to salute him. Grenada conflict veteran. That's my goat. I have never met, in my experience, I have never met a single veteran ever that has been like, yeah, nah, shit is sweet. The VA is dope. And there are very good reasons for that. Okay. Like, even if people are like, it's good for me, they will immediately tell you it's fucking dog shit for everybody else. Okay. That's it. Now let's continue.
All Americans by the U.S. military, and adding, this is what she thinks of the U.S. military members. Though that is a criticism that she's pushed back against, saying, I didn't move to America to invade it, I moved to evade the U.S.-made bombs Israel kept dropping on our heads. Tons of other people also noting that her comments are very, very similar to what Frogan recently said that got her into controversy, which is also why you had some looking at Mia's video and wondering if Twitch will ban her as well. Though this also is on the other side, you have people thinking that even though she is getting a ton of criticism, there was truth to what she was saying, arguing, nah, she is right about the U.S. barely giving a fuck about veterans. Every homeless person I see was in the military. It's for real sad. Political commentators like Hassan Piker even writing, she ain't wrong, America does not give a shit about its veterans unless they want to talk about immigrants and they love remembering there are homeless vets. And whether people agree with or disagree with Mia's comments or her delivery of them, this conversation does highlight that veterans do face a ton of unique struggles when coming back home. I mean, according to the American Psychological Association,
yeah, I think it's like all you get for your service where you sold your soul to the fucking devil that is the Defense Department, all you get for it in return is a bunch of people turning around and every now and then letting you fucking skip the line, letting you cut the line at the airport if you're in fucking fatigues, and then, 3 cents off of a jalapeno popper on a fucking Wednesday morning, And then people will go, thank you for your service. Like, it's fucking bullshit. Yeah, I don't think the fucking ass cancer that you got is worth it. You know what I mean? By fucking breathing in the goddamn burn pits at the forward operating base that you were at. Like, I don't think it's worth it. It's just not. It's fucking ridiculous. The American military is a jobs program. That's it. It's a jobs program. The problem is the output is not great.
Association, vets have a higher risk for suicide than the general population. In 2021, over 6,000 veterans died by suicide, and that's over 17 per day. I mean, since 2010, 71,000 vets have died.
You can get free college football tickets too sometimes. Tell me that ain't worth it. Yeah.
By suicide. And earlier this year, we also learned that there was an increase of veteran homelessness, with a study from the Department of Housing and Urban Development finding that on a single night in January of 2023, over 35,000 veterans experienced homelessness. That's an over 7% jump from 2022. Though I will say, while that year-to-year jump is troubling, homelessness in this population is decreasing overall, going down over 50% since 2010. And this recent spike is likely tied to late-stage COVID-19 effects as the pandemic impacted homelessness in general, not just among vets. But also, as far as why this is such a major veterans issue, you had the National Alliance to End Homelessness explaining, research indicates that those who served in the late Vietnam and post-Vietnam eras are at the greatest risk of becoming homeless, but that veterans from more recent wars and conflicts are also affected. Veterans returning from deployments in Afghanistan and Iraq often face invisible wounds of war, including traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder, both of which correlate with homelessness. So it really is all tied together, right? Veterans experiencing mental health problems is not in a separate vacuum from homelessness. But, I guess in general, I'd love to know your thoughts on any and all of this, right? Whether it be with Mia Khalifa and her specific comments and that specific backlash, or on the larger discussions about the problems that veterans face here in the US. And then this grieving mom says that
yeah, I mean, it's just like, I think it's like the only thing that Americans do for veterans is like whenever someone says like, fuck them, they just like immediately stop. They immediately start chirping. That's the one thing that you will always get. If you're a veteran, your life is fucked. You got PTSD, you got a shitty communications degree, and now you're in the same fucking job market that is ass cheeks, and you're probably unemployed. Maybe you'll get some benefits if you're lucky. But if someone comes out and says, like, fuck the veterans, everyone's going to pounce. They're going to be like, oh, what the fuck? How dare you say that? You are disrespecting a future JROTC soldier, ma'am. It's just like, it's not like, it's bullshit. It's fake. It's fake. It's fake bullshit. It's absolutely fake bullshit. It's nonsense. I'd much rather be honest. You know what I mean? Did you cover that chatbot story? No. Can you talk about leftists voting for Jill Stein over Kamala? Yeah, I think that the Kamala Harris campaign does not think that they are important enough to earn their votes. That's what I think. And my principle always is that you cannot outflank the campaign. If the campaign is messaging against those people saying, fuck them, you know, then what are you supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I can't fucking convince people to not make this decision when the campaign is like openly going, nah, I don't care. And if you have like a real issue with this, then you probably don't, you probably don't fit the bill of the people that the campaign is like actively pushed aside. You know what I mean? There are a multitude of different reasons for why people are feeling like the campaign does not care enough about their votes, right? People aren't educated about Jill Stein and her insane anti-vax weird shit, so they default to saying, dude, my most liberal opinion, like I don't give a shit. Don't vote for Donald Trump, right? I don't want Donald Trump to win. But my most libbed up opinion is my distaste for Jill Stein in general. I've talked about it quite extensively. Like I've dunked on people over and over again on this front. You know, I understand why people are still seeing that as like the only alternative, especially when the Harris camp is like deliberately pushing them away. Now, if you ask me, we're voting for Jill Stein because we're teaching the Democrats a lesson. The Democrats will not learn the lesson. Just letting you know. They won't. They didn't in 2016, and they certainly will not. There is no instance where the Democrats will tack left instead of consistently tacking right. That's what they did in 2016, and that's what they're going to continue to do. Democrats win, they're going to say, see, we moderated our positions and we won. That means we have to tack right. The Democrats lose, they're going to say, we lost because of the Jill Stein voter coalition. Fuck them. They should have voted for us. We lost because of the third party voters. Fuck them. Have fun getting deported, bitch. We need to go more to the right so that we can captivate more of the Trump base of support, more of the Republicans. That's it. They will never turn around and go, maybe we should reconsider. Maybe we should reconsider and possibly not hemorrhage our base. How do you expect third parties to ever gain prominence? Is that supposed to happen overnight? Voting third party in hard blue states is the best approach to this since it doesn't increase Trump's chances of winning. Yeah, I know. I've heard this. I've heard this quite a bit too. I know. Like, there are very significant reasons why I have great disdain for Kamala Harris on the policy front. Okay, but if I am keeping that same energy for a lot of our wonderful third party candidates, like, they don't fucking meet that test either. She's fucking insufferable. She's literally a career campaigner. How do people not see she only pops up to run and milk money out of PNW anarchists in Seattle? Marianne tried this and failed too. Lamont, I know. But I also understand why people are so fucking angry and like want to punish the Democratic Party. I'm just letting you know. I'm always going to be fucking honest with you. They're not going to learn that lesson. So go with your heart. Okay.
Rally with some big names.
How many of you, show of hands?
Oh, the goats. CNN asked undecided PA voters if the town hall changed their minds. This was what I was waiting for. This is my best. This is, I love me some undecided voters, baby. 13 days out, and I'm still undecided. Let me tell you, okay?
Damn, this guy's good.